Tom Garrett. In fact, let me address you properly. Congressman-elect Tom Garrett. Good to have you with us, Congressman-elect Garrett.
I'm happy to be here. I do want to correct the record. Bryce Reeves was an Army Ranger. I was only a mild-mannered forward observer.
I thought, Army Ranger was Reeves. Okay, I got that. Yes.
That's right. I don't like that stolen valor stuff when other people do it. So I know it was an accident, but I'm not going to lay claim to that coveted Black Ranger tab.
No.
But anyway, I did serve, and we blew some stuff up. How are you?
You blew some stuff up. I know you're going to get to Washington and blow some stuff up, right? Are you going to be the first thing you need to do?
It's a rich environment. I'll tell you what. I now need to make sure it's clear to the Democrat trackers who are listening to that comment that was a metaphor and not literal. Anyway, how are you?
Never better. Happy Thanksgiving. Good to have you with us. I'm really excited. You're going up there because it's going to be a lot of fun. And I know every time you get on my show, and I know you're going to continue to go on and talk to your constituents and talk to everybody and tell the truth about what exactly is going on in there. And the first thing you need to do is evaluate the status of the swamp. That's the first thing I want you to do. Like, give us a swamp. We should have a weekly swamp report. Like, what's going on with the swamp, right?
We could just track the swamp level. I'll tell you what, I've been very impressed with the appointments that your guy from the get-go
thank you
has made so far. I'm going to tell you I'm not crazy about Mitch McConnell's wife. But I guess we give her a blank slate. She certainly does know the ropes. And yeah, I mean, Sessions, the folks that Mr. Trump's been choosing to surround himself with, very, very impressive.
Well, look, Wilbur as Commerce Secretary, brilliant move. Steve Mnuchin, I mean, I look not the fact that he worked for Goldman Sachs. What I look at is his policies he's going to implement, which I think there's 5 tenets of them. Cut taxes, get rid of the regulations, get out of these trade deals, things of that nature. I think he's going to be effective. So look, Mike Pompeo has been on my show many times. Great guy. I thought that was an excellent choice, as well as General Flynn. Steve Bannon, good friend of ours, good friend of the show's. So I'm kind of excited about what's gone down. I don't think Romney's going to be Secretary of State, though, Tom. I don't see that. I just can't envision Trump doing that because that would really infuriate the base. So I don't see that happening.
Well, one thing I admire about Mr. Trump is I don't think he's playing to anybody other than what he thinks is best for America.
That's correct.
I took this shot at Elaine Chao by virtue of her relationship to Leader McConnell, but I think Mr. Trump felt like that was the best pick for the job. I am not a Romney apologist, a Romney fan. I was a Romney supporter long enough to walk in and vote for him.
Same here.
Back when he was running for president. But I think, Donald J. Trump is going to listen to smart people, and then he's going to do what he thinks is best. I don't think that's going to be a Romney appointment either.
Yeah, I don't see it. And I do get the fact that he's going to make his own decision. But you have to be somewhat cognizant of your base. And that is the one pick that he could do that would send people like me over the edge. I mean, it would just, because of the things he said, the way he mocked Trump's most loyal backers, worse than Scott Ridgel did. So I just don't know.
Right.
I mean, there are just so many other people out there. I don't know why you would go down this path. Coupled with the fact he doesn't have any foreign policy experience other than shipping jobs out of the country. That's it for his foreign policy experience. Okay, let's get to Congressman-elect Tom Garrett going to Washington. Just give us a little insight. Your office, your staff, orientation. Just walk us through some of the highlights.
Well, I was the office, as far as the physical geography of it, is unimportant. It's who goes into that office that matters. So that staff question is the one that matters. We're in the process of trying to fill out a staff. My chief of staff will remain Kevin Reynolds, with whom I served in the Army, and then he took a 50% pay cut to come work with me in the General Assembly. The guy's amazingly capable, incredibly intelligent, although he did go to the College of William & Mary, but I don't hold that against him. He again served with me in the military. We've got a staff right now. I read an article not too long ago that indicated that something like just over 1% of Hill staffers had military experience. Right now, I think we've got something like 33%. I'm proud of that. Looking at a couple of really neat young men and women who've done a lot for this country prior to ever getting to Washington, so that gives me confidence that they'll continue to.
Right.
The office lottery is this morning, but again, the physical geography of it's not nearly as important as who goes in it. Orientation, a lot of common sense stuff. The amount of time they spend telling us not to lie, cheat, or steal is indicative of what they think of the incoming class, I suppose. But I think you could probably imagine more or less the process of what they're trying to teach us in the timeline, and you'd be relatively close to right.
So, look, I really get what you're trying to do there, and I applaud you for looking for veterans to round out some of your staff positions. And so Kevin McReynolds is going to be your chief of staff. That makes sense. You guys work together well. He's trusted. Who's going to be your communications director? Have you made that decision?
So we worked with Andrew Griffin. He's actually one of our opponents in the race for this congressional seat. And Andrew had previously worked for Glenn Thompson from Pennsylvania, a good central Pennsylvania conservative, and has a master's in political communication. And we'd been using him as the communications director during the campaign. I think we're about 99% of the way to hiring Andrew, and really think highly of him, his knowledge, not only of the District of Columbia, but the 5th District, having grown up on the cusp of it in the Campbell County, Bedford area. So that's that. And I guess the next question would be legislative director. There is a young man from Danville who worked with Congressman Hurt, who we're very interested in at this point in time too. But we may have spoiled that secret by virtue of this interview because Kevin's responsible for making the official hiring offers. Beyond that, we're not fleshed out. Some of that's intentional. We had an amazing group of young people from UVA, from Liberty, from Hampton-Sydney, Farmville, Longwood, who worked with us on the campaign, trying to bring some fresh blood up here, and a lot of them don't graduate till May. So it's probably going to be a very deliberate process over a series of months.
All right. I love your approach, and thanks for sharing that. We believe in complete transparency here on the John Fredericks Show, so thank you for that. Congressman-elect Tom Garrett with me, Republican 5th District. He'll be replacing Congressman Hurt, who is retiring, and when he takes the oath, that'll be sometime in January, and we're going to be there for that. I would not miss that. Congressman-elect Garrett, I will be there for your swearing in, as well as Scott Taylor's. Would not miss that for the world. Whatever that day is, I will be. In fact, let me get that on my calendar
3rd,
now.
Mark it down.
I'll be there.
All right. Well,
I'll do my show live. I'll do my show live.
I can't speak for Taylor. He said you're kind of sketchy. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I know that. But I'll do my show live from Washington so that I can be there that day when you guys get sworn in. It's going to be an exciting day for many of us here in Virginia that are very excited to get both yourself and Congressman-elect Taylor to Washington. Let's go a couple other things now that you're elected to Congress. There's an open Senate seat, right? Your prior Senate seat now opened. And we understand there's a convention on Saturday. How does this work?
So, yeah, I guess there are 2 candidates who made the pre-file deadline for the convention, both interested in the 22nd District Senate seat. I don't blame them. It's the best state Senate seat in Virginia. Ken Peterson from Goochland and Mark Peake from the Lynchburg area. I think both of them are eminently qualified and would do a good job. I do not have a horse in the race. Both of them have been working awfully hard, and it'll be. I have every confidence that the 22nd will remain in Republican hands, and it will also be in good Republican hands, no matter who wins.
Right. So there's 2 candidates, right? Mark Peake and the supervisor from Goochland, Ken Peterson. Right. Those are the 2 candidates.
That's right.
And that'll be decided on Saturday. So, I've got Mark Peake coming on the air today, so we'll get a little take from him. And then hopefully we can have Ken Peterson on tomorrow. But I don't know Mark Peake. I do know former supervisor of Goochland Peterson, great guy. So I'm sure that the state Senate will be served in either capacity. Now, let's get to 2017 gubernatorial race. Have you made any endorsement, and do you plan to make
Oh
any?
no, it's I haven't. It's been interesting, sort of watching it, and we'll see how it plays out.
Okay, so no endorsement yet. Is there one that might be imminent?
No, there's nothing imminent. That governor's office belongs to 8.3 million Virginians, not me. Certainly, down the road we might do something, but as of right now, there's nothing that we've done and nothing we intended to do.
All right, Congressman-elect Garrett, we talked about your staff. We talked about your personality and all that good stuff. Who's going to replace you in the state Senate? Let's talk about your top priorities when you get sworn in and you take over. As you look ahead to this Congress you're going to be getting into, what is Congressman-elect Tom Garrett's top 2 or 3 priorities in Washington 2017?
Well, it's relatively easy, and the good thing about us is we like to tell the truth, so we don't need to remember what to say. There are 3 existential threats this nation faces. It's radical Islam, profligate spending, and the failure to secure its own borders. Having said that, as it relates to the 5th District, there's a massive need for economic stimulus. So there's the national sort of 3 existential threats, and then the specific needs of the 5th District. And we've got any number of, in fact, we could be on for quite a time, ideas and sort of concepts that we'll be supporting moving forward. Fortunately, Donald Trump's the president, and there's a whole lot of overlap.
All right, but the main things that we can count on you working on is the debt, the securing the southern borders of the United States so we don't have this complete open border situation, and some kind of a plan to deal with or defeat ISIS. Is that my understanding?
Absolutely. You can't lead from behind. That was President Obama's stated goal. I've been scratching my head ever since he first said that years ago. Having said that, there needs to be a very, very, very high bar for American boots on the ground, which I do not inherently oppose, but unless we can articulate the desired end state post-American involvement, we should never put American troops into harm's way, and they can't do that in Syria right now, which greatly frustrates me. What you have in Syria is a socialist sectarian or secular regime, a socialist secular regime, which is indeed backed by the Russians, which is indeed bad, who's fighting against ISIS, who are worse, and we've chosen to side with the moderate rebels who are quite literally Al-Qaeda, right? So I don't think a whole lot of thought has gone into that, and if it has, I think it was flawed thought, and so those are the sorts of things that we're going to be articulate on. We also need to reaffirm our special relationship with Israel, working on some things to that end right now. We need to figure out how we can keep promises that we've made to our seniors, like Social Security viability, without spending ourselves into oblivion. We talked some about that during the campaign. Actually, going to have a meeting with the House Policy Committee leader about that here in about an hour. So excited about the opportunities, and we're also, the one thing we hadn't hit on, John, is committee assignments, and that's something else that's coming up. We don't know the answers to yet, but that'll be exciting and sort of determinative on how much we're able to do.
Well, okay, let's stay. I didn't ask that because I knew they hadn't been assigned, so I'll wait on that for the next time you come on. I will see you at the Advance, right? You'll be there?
I am going to be there late, so I'm addressing the centennial anniversary of the Capitol chapter of my undergraduate fraternal organization. They couldn't get Mike Pence, who's also a Phi Yam, and so I am their distant second.
Okay, and then so you'll be there, what, on Saturday?
We should be there Friday night late or Saturday morning early.
All right. Well, we will see you on Saturday. I'm on the air on Saturday Live, new special edition, 1 to 4, pop by, say a few words, and maybe we'll have an update then. I want to thank Congressman-elect Tom Garrett for being with us, Republican 5th District, Virginia. He'll be sworn in January 3rd. We're fired up. Tom, thanks.
All right, my man. Great talking to you as always.
All right. Tom Garrett going to Washington to drain the swamp. I'll be right back.